Hello and welcome back to the latest character journal for the Tainted Lands, Mists of Mournton, episode 6. For those of you that have been following, my name's Eric, and I play Sir Cadron Lorna. And this was a bit of an interesting episode. This journal's going to go a little bit differently just because I actually spent the first third of this session unconscious. So that was fun. So, to jump right into it, and you'll know when Sir K's part kicks in because I'll switch to my voice. However, to start off, this session opened on a bit of a tense note as our party makes it through the gates of Mournton Manor as the rest of the town is effectively burning down around us. Now, I mentioned Sir K being unconscious, and it's because at the end of the previous session, episode 5, Sir K was charmed and turned on the party. Thankfully, they did not kill me outright. Instead, they knocked me out, hogtied me, and dragged me to the manor with them. So, yeah, that was an interesting turn of events. However, our party makes it through the gates, and the manor guard attempts to bar the gates themselves. However, many of them die trying, as these creepy, eyeless people are throwing stones and torches through the gate and over the walls. Junie, Wallace, and Wynne go to help close the gate. Wynne has a bit of a moment of inspiration as she tells one of the living guards that if he leaves, we all die anyways. So, luckily they got the gate barred. That bought us a little bit of time. However, there was a bit of a pulse of light and apparently, I don't want to say not all there, but a berserk woman in Mournton Town Guard armor comes out of the storehouse where this light's coming from, and she starts charging the gate. So everyone gets a little worried and they start dealing with the woman. Luckily, we have a moment where they're so each of the players has plot points. Each has received one so far for major events that have occurred, and I've already used mine, but 2 of them got used in this instance. So long story short, during this battle with this woman, so Wallace uses his in order to... I'm trying to remember. I was trying to remember the direct order of operations here. So effectively 2 plot points get used. Or no, just one, I think it was. Wallace uses his... there's one that makes the woman go back to the storehouse, and the negative to that, because every time one of these gets used, we have to throw in a negative twist. I twisted it in such a way that the bar keeping the gates shut started to splinter, because I'm terrible and I love ratcheting up trauma. So on that end of things weren't going particularly well. Wallace, so played by Lewis, uses his plot point to call on his deity to start repairing the gate, which is great, but he uses bone pipes to pray and call down his deity effectively, and they are made of the bones of a dear friend of his. And Kirsten, Toby's player, actually threw in a twist here where the bone pipes got damaged. Luckily, one of us, actually I believe it was Toby, had the mending cantrip, so they didn't stay damaged for long. But it was a bit of a no shit moment, so to speak, because we know those are kind of a crux of Wallace's character, and it was real interesting to see everyone's reactions. That said, at this point, I awake after the battle. Sir Cadron is woken up, shall we say, in a bit of a disadvantaged position. Literally and figuratively, as he has no idea what's really going on. He doesn't know where he is, to start, and it turns out we were staying in the stables. There were quite a few refugees from the town. And I woke up hogtied, which I very much did not appreciate. However, I also woke up hogtied with Wallace in my face, asking me a bunch of questions about what happened. Over time, it slowly started to come back to me. I had just woken from a, shall we call it, a particularly disturbing dream. Places burning, corpses asking me why I left them behind. It wasn't pleasant. So not only am I groggy, don't know where I am, and am suddenly being interrogated, but I'm not exactly of the best mindset at this point. And Wallace begins asking me things like what happened, why I turned on them, ask me why I would do such a thing and what I have planned, blah blah blah. Fool of a dwarf. I had to inform him that if I had wanted any of them dead, they would be. Frankly, I've had more than enough moments to abandon them in the woods, let them die to the tree, the death route. I could have alerted the bandits we were coming. I could have turned on them at really any point I wanted. But I didn't. And those actions should speak louder than the actions I took that were out of my character. I was lucky enough that he was at least willing to listen, and he asked me why I would have turned at that point, and I told him, well, it was that moment I realized that, it was magic. You see, before that night, I didn't know that magic existed that could make you do things as though they were your own idea. Unfortunately, this appears to be the case, as from my memories, I saw a person through the smoke, of a humanoid shape, I'll say. I heard the words destroy them, and all of a sudden I thought that was a good idea, so I went about it. And normally, those things really don't register until afterwards. It didn't register with me until I awoke, because I'd been unconscious, having nightmares, and, well, let's just say things got a bit out of hand at that point, because I explained it to Wallace this way, that I would not attempt to kill them like that. It had to be something influencing myself from the outside, because that's just not me. And beyond that, well, even he was able to command a man to start stripping in the middle of the street in the middle of a fight, so even he knows, especially he knows, there is magic out there that can control other people. And that's when I realized this hasn't been the first time. None of them know this yet, but I have to go rethink 2.5 years worth of a relationship at this point, because I don't know what parts of it were real. She had a habit of making things seem like they were my idea. And they weren't always good. Now I need to look back and not just reevaluate that relationship, but think through what changes about me, knowing that it might not have been all me making those decisions. Wallace was kind enough to offer to listen, but I don't think it's something I can talk about just yet. The implications are just... they're too fresh and they're too mind-melting. At least he sat me up at the end of it, though. I'm afraid some of them might not understand what it's like to love someone who you know is bad for you. It'll be some time before I can trust them and trust myself enough to tell them that story. I went to sleep that night, sat up but still hog-tied, luckily no longer gagged. And I woke up with Junie putting a dagger to my throat. That was... well, admittedly it's not the first time, but definitely not the most pleasant time either. For a moment there was a look in her eye like she might just do it. And I can't say I blame her. She's been going through a lot lately, and... well, my actions certainly didn't help things. I can't say I'd have earned it, but I could at least understand it if she did. Luckily, she just cut the ties. Gave me a moment to go collect myself. And I realized how lucky I was that Wallace hadn't read my book. Carrying around a book of people's last wishes, it's difficult and heavy. And also very personal, because they all start to mean something to you after a while. I took a moment to walk around, to see the damage beyond the walls, and there is a lot. Most of the town is burned. Many of the people are dead. It appears that only around 100 or so people made it in to the manor. As far as I know, Wallace and Junie took a walk themselves as well. Wallace came back to the stables with a sword for me, which I appreciate, but I'm going to have to go get my own back. May also have to start thinking of a name for it. Wallace joked about good blades earning a name. I don't know if I'd consider mine good or not, but I may have earned one after this point. Maybe Consequence. A bit of bitter irony there. After taking some time to blow off steam, we returned to the stables and informed Toby about what happened with the stone. And he did not take it particularly well, and I don't know why. Finding out that you were carrying a cursed stone around with something watching you, most folk would be quite happy that it was destroyed. I don't know, he's a strange one. With strange magic. He worries me a bit. Not in the sense that I think he's going to do something dangerous, but in the sense that he might make a choice, or choices, that could put us in danger, and that's coming from me. Part of me worries about Wynne in all of this as well. She's clearly in over her head. She goes from mild-mannered herbalist to adventurer in a matter of days, and watches a town burn. She's been doing well so far. She's been handling it well, but I don't know how much more she'll be able to take. She at least has a good sense of right and wrong on her shoulders. Probably better than my own. Most of them probably are better than my own. Wallace 2 shows an unexpected amount of camaraderie now. Perhaps opening up to us about his friend that died. It seemed like it's maybe helped him heal a bit. And I somewhat regret what I said to him during our conversation that evening. As I accused his paranoia of nearly turning him into Ragnar, the man that killed his friend. Well, I do believe that comment was accurate. I worry it just may have been a bit too much for the moment. We ended the morning with our being able to go see Lady Mournton, and as we were about to explain what happened, Signy, the woman who helped us destroy the stone, appeared and stated that it was we outsiders' fault that the attack had happened. So you can damn well bet I'll have some words out with her over that. And possibly with the Lady Mournton as well, if she chooses to listen. I think we're all pretty well set on trying to save the town at this point, so... Well, I guess it's about time I put my sharp tongue to use. More than my blade. Thank you for listening, everyone. This was a bit of a somber one, from my character's point of view. But it's getting interesting. There's going to be some more drama. That definitely happens. Hopefully those of you watching these little character recaps will join us either on stream or on YouTube and enjoy the story as much as we do.